In business, just like when you work for somebody else, you have to have the skill of knowing how to ask for help. Asking for help is probably the most important thing that you can do for yourself, for your business, for your life, whatever that is. Because when you ask for help, you become vulnerable and you are acutely aware of where you are and what's going on and what's the thought process, what's the potentially a negative thought vortex that you're getting into. Whatever that is makes you aware. And when you're aware, you kind of give up control for a little bit, right? And when you give up control, you allow opportunities to come to you. So when you are not sure what to do, when you are stressed out, stop for a moment and see if you really need help, if that's what you need. Because sometimes we take on so much weight on ourselves that it just doesn't work. We just keep pushing harder and harder, but things don't work. There's this cliche expression that you have to work smarter, not harder. And it applies here too. Sometimes harder doesn't work at all. Sometimes you have to work smarter. And sometimes it's really important to remember why you're doing this, right? Remind yourself of your why. But you also have to remember that sometimes you can control certain things and some things you cannot. Nobody could control the pandemic. Nobody could control the pandemic when it comes to high school kids who are graduating this year, let's say, who are just starting high school in 2020. Nobody could help them, but we can help them now, right? We can support them. We can understand where they are. And this is really, really important stuff. Same thing with you. If you've struggled, you've gone through ups and downs. I mean, many businesses have. I certainly have gone through it, personally, professionally. And that's the place for us to connect. That's a place for us to support each other. I love New York City. I'm a New York City forever patriot. I love New York City. I don't live in New York City, but I never really wanted to live in New York City. I always wanted a quiet country house. But I love New York City because New York, people say that New Yorkers are, what's the word? Cold, indifferent, don't care. But actually, I love New York City in this feature somewhat, and it's not the feature that's always unchanging. It's just a one facet of New Yorkers, right? We can be cold and indifferent because when you're walking on the streets of New York City, in the streets of New York City, you can be invisible. And that's great because growing up in the Soviet Union, I didn't have that opportunity, right? Everybody was in each other's business all the time. And so being able to disappear in the streets of New York was actually really awesome. And New Yorkers are all busy, minding their own business, but then they also come together, like that plane, Sullenberger, right? So that flight in 2009, I think it was, right? January 15th or so. People came together. New Yorkers came together. And that's what I love about New York. When you want people to notice you, they will notice and help and support you. But when you want to disappear, like I wanted to disappear, for many reasons at different times in my life, I disappeared and it was awesome. So make sure that you know how to ask for help. That's actually a huge accomplishment of a human being, to be able to ask for help.